What if one exercise could completely change the way you produce explosive power? An exercise that doesn't require you to spend hours in the gym. An exercise that can train your nervous system to produce force faster, improve your reactive strength, increase your jumping ability, and potentially make you more explosive for sports like boxing, MMA, wrestling, and other combat sports. That exercise is the depth jump and is one of the key exercises associated with the shock method, a training concept built around exposing the body to powerful stimulus and forcing it to adapt. This philosophy is simple. Stop doing more, start adapting. Instead of consistently adding more volume, more exercises, and more training, the shock method focuses on using highly specific stimulus to change neuromuscular system. And today we're doing a breakdown exactly what the Soviet shock method is, why depth jump is so important so important to it, how depth jumps work, and how this type of training could help you develop a more explosive, powerful, and athletic body. Let's get into it. The shock method is a training approach associated with Soviet era sports science and the development of explosive athletic performance. The basic idea is that certain exercises can create an extremely powerful stimulus for the neuromuscular system. The body experiences a rapid loading phase followed by an immediate attempt to produce explosive force. This is where the concept of the stretch-shortening cycle becomes extremely important. Your muscles and tendons are capable of storing and releasing elastic energy. When you rapidly absorb force, your muscles and tendons are stretched under load into a powerful movement. Then if you immediately transition into a powerful movement, you can use that stored energy to help produce a more explosive action. This is one of the reasons plyometric exercises are more valuable for athletes. Here's the key. The shock method isn't about simply doing endless jumps. It's about quality over quantity. The goal is to create a high quality stimulus that the body can adapt to. Think about it like this. You don't need to throw 1,000 punches to develop a more powerful punch. You need to practice producing force effectively with the right technique, timing, coordination, and intensity. The same principle applies to explosive training. More isn't always better. Sometimes the most effective training stimulus is small amount of extremely high quality work, and is where the depth jump comes in. The depth jump is different from a normal vertical jump. With a normal jump, you're starting from the ground and generating force to leave the floor. With a depth jump, you're stepping or dropping from an elevated platform, landing and immediately transitioning into an explosive movement. That means you're dealing with a rapid eccentric loading phase. Your body has to absorb force, then almost immediately you have to redirect that force into an explosive concentric action. This creates a very demanding challenge for your entire neuromuscular system. Your nervous system has to coordinate your muscles quickly. Your lower body has to absorb and redirect force. Your tendons have to tolerate rapid loading, and your brain has to organize the movement in a fraction of a second. This is what makes the depth jump such a powerful tool for developing reactive strength and explosive power. You aren't just training your muscles to be strong, you're training your body to react. For an athlete, that can be incredibly important because sports doesn't always give you time to prepare. You don't always get to slowly bend your knees properly yourself and then generate force. In combat sports, you might have to react instantly. You might need to explode into a takedown, drive through an opponent, change direction, throw a powerful punch, kick explosively, or rapidly move out of danger. The ability to absorb force and immediately produce force is a major component of athletic movement. That's exactly what the depth jump challenges. To understand why the depth jump is so effective, you need to understand the stretch shortening cycle. The stretch shortening cycle is essentially a rapid sequence where a muscle tendon unit undergoes a quick lengthening action before immediately shortening. Think about jumping before you jump. You naturally bend your knees and hips. Your muscles lengthen under tension. Then you immediately reverse the movement and explode up. That transition is incredibly important. The faster and more effectively you can transition from absorbing force to producing force, the more reactive and explosive you can potentially become. Depth jumps exaggerate this process. You drop from a height, you land, your body must rapidly absorb the incoming force and then attempt to explode upward as quickly as possible. The goal isn't to spend a long time sitting at the bottom. The goal is to create a rapid transition. That's what makes the exercise more demanding. Your body is essentially being asked, can you absorb this force and immediately turn it into movement? That's the challenge. Now let's talk about technique. First thing to understand is that a depth jump is not simply jumping off a box and landing however you can. You need to control the movement. Start with a relatively low box or platform. Stand on top. Step off the platform. Don't aggressively jump forward. Simply step off. Allow gravity to create the drop as you land. Your body needs to absorb the force. Your hips, knees, and ankles work together to manage the landing. Then, depending on your training goal and technique, you immediately transition into explosive jump. The key is to make the transition as quick and powerful as your technique allows you. You want to think drop, react, explode. But here's something extremely important. You should never sacrifice landing mechanics just to make the exercise look more explosive. If your landing is uncontrolled, your knees collapse inwards, or you're struggling to maintain good position, the exercise is probably too demanding. Lower the height, focus on quality, master the movement, then progress gradually. Depth jumps are advanced plyometric exercise. They're not something I would recommend throwing into your program randomly. You should already have a reasonable foundation of strength, movement, quality, and basic jumping ability before progressing to highly demanding depth jumps. For an experienced athlete, the focus should generally be on quality and intent. You might perform a small number of sets with a limited number of repetitions per set, allowing plenty of recovery between efforts. The goal is to make every repetition explosive, not exhausted, not sloppy, not perform just to finish the workout explosively. The exact box height, number of sets, repetitions, and frequency. The depth jump has earned its place as one of the most respected exercises in explosive performance training because it teaches your body to absorb force, react instantly, and produce power in the shortest amount of time possible. When combined with a solid strength program and sport-specific training, it can help develop the explosive qualities that athletes rely on in competition. But remember, the real lesson behind the Soviet shock method isn't simply to perform depth jumps. It's to understand that your body adapts to the quality of stimulus you give it. Don't chase endless exercises. Don't chase endless fatigue. Chase purposeful training. Train with intent. Recover properly. Then come back stronger, faster, and more explosive than before. Stop doing more. Start adapting. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more exercises on Soviet training methods, combat athlete performance, explosive power, and strength science, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Chakra X out.